since yesterday, and for sure, the Amazon lawyers are totally speechless. I'm in the inside of witnessing everything, posting the results in real time. So I cannot say much at the time. So right now we're in a 10-minute recess. But the results will come out today.
Yeah! Woo!
And today, the first independent worker-led union will be formed in New York City.
Yeah! Woo!
Yes, Jordan.
You've been one of the lead organizers for nearly a year. You've had stories where you felt mistreated by Amazon. Can you kind of explain about the journey to this victory, and for you personally, what you've experienced at Amazon?
So, for those who don't know my personal story, I've been working with Amazon since 2018. And Amazon could be a $1 trillion company. But within New York City is the first fulfillment center that it has. But workers like myself that has a disability, they treat us like trash. Myself has an active case with the EEOC and was arrested a month ago along with Chris Moss and Brett Daniels. And the general manager and assistant manager who fired Chris Moss 2 years ago and were the same people who appeared in a video telling 8,000 of my co-workers to vote no, were the same people who arrested me along with Brett and along with Chris, are the same ones who we are beating today. And we are beating within and not aligning with no established union. Let's make that clear for the record.
So Jason, did you finish counting?
Not yet. Although that we opened all 10 boxes that were registered during the 5 days that we voted on site, but the NLRB staff took a 10-minute break, despite the fact that they were overwhelmed during the 5 days. But thanks to them, that they committed to do the in-person voting for the first time ever. We have to give them credit, because never before in the history of the NLRB, they never have done in-person voting for 8,000 people.
How long do you think it's going to take still?
Maybe I could say another hour or so, because we have like 3 stacks of ballots. So maybe during the next hour, we will have the results.
Can you remind us of your name, please?
Jason Anthony. And I'm an Amazon worker and an organizer for Amazon Labor Union.
Can you spell your name, please?
And I'm on Twitter as JasonBXNY0619. And I'll be posting the results on real time.
This is what community looks like.
Yes.
This is what democracy looks like.
So I have to go upstairs, but there's other workers that are down here that could talk with you guys. So I'll see you guys within 1 hour. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in 1 hour.
All right.
And stand by for the results.
Let's go over here.
Stand by for the results.
The power for working class revolution.
Brett, you've been on this union organizing journey for almost a year. You've been arrested twice while organizing. Just personally for you, what got you inspired to be a part of this? And did you actually think you guys could be victorious? Because it was really a David versus a couple of Goliaths.
Yeah, so it's all about the people, the power of the people. Literally seeing Chris, Derek, Gerald, and Jay, over 2 years ago now, fight for working class people, fight for health and safety conditions, speaking out against Amazon's corruption and not handling health and safety seriously during a pandemic where New York was the epicenter. And they weren't providing masks, weren't 6 foot social distancing, holding pizza parties and carnivals, not caring. And then still, yet 2 years later, on the last day of the vote, what do we get? Yet another COVID notification. They removed the mask mandate March 1st. They removed barriers months ago. They don't care about people's lives and health and safety. It's continuously shown that it's profit over people, and we're here to say that it's people over profit. All power to the people.
All power to the workers.
Yes.
What does this day mean to you?
Everything. This signifies working class power and the potential for a working class revolution. We, see this be the first potential Amazon union in the entire U.S. In Amazon's nearly 28-year history. So it's about damn time.
Brett, what are your thoughts? Because the media excessively covered Jeff Bezos's trip to space, spent billions on that. Meanwhile, workers I've spoken with are literally sleeping in their cars. Working full-time at Amazon in the parking lot. Workers I've spoken with at other warehouses around the country have to work multiple jobs. Can you kind of talk about that disconnect between how much money this company makes, how much money Jeff Bezos is worth, yet the actual model of payment and benefits to workers?
Yeah, so like the Illuminator, a community project based here in New York, illuminated on JFK 8 warehouse with a projector saying Bezos went to space off your labor. It's important to know that Amazon workers, the constituents here in New York and everywhere, taxpayers, we paid for his, and all the billionaires' space travel, and we're tired of it. We need things to change.
Will you give us your full name, Brett?
Brett Daniels, BRETTDANIELS, Director of Organizing for our Workers Committee for the Amazon Labor Union.
Hey, Connor.
And Brett, what's your message? Because there's a lot of working class people, a lot of progressives who have become kind of hopeless, cynical, feel like the system's too corrupt. There's nothing they could do. What's your message to them? Because obviously, if a small band of workers in a 6,000 worker warehouse can defeat one of the biggest companies on earth, can't other workers succeed if they organize and they work for this?
Yes, my advice to all workers: organize your workplace. You can do it. We've shown that this can be done independently. It's a complete worker-led, worker-centered initiative. It only makes sense. Who knows Amazon warehouse working conditions better than Amazon workers to make that change that we need?
For the record, you were arrested twice. The first time for the crime of putting up a tent, and the second time for passing out grilled chicken.
Yeah, we were once again, holding for the second arrest as a part of our regular union lunches for the people, for our fellow co-workers. And yet every single time, whether it's been an arrest, whether it's been at our rallies, the police have shown up and working in the interests of the state and in power and protecting profits.
What does this result say about your worker-led model? Do you feel vindicated with the approach you guys took, not affiliating grassroots? What's the feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it shows that it can be done without affiliating with a nationally recognized union. We have the support of established unions with millions of members. So we've seen that support, and we're thankful for it really highlighting that community power, community-led movements is where it's at. That it can be done without being affiliated with an established union.
Gotcha. And what's the plan from you heading into bargaining, shoring up support, figuring out bargaining priorities, forcing Amazon at the table? What's the plan from here?
Yeah, so we're encouraging the people to again, donate, support us in any way possible. We have an upcoming election next month, April 25th through the 29th, at our neighboring facility, LDJ 5. So this is the second of 4 in Staten Island that we're prepared to have an election for. And moving forward, we plan on, unionizing anywhere and everywhere that workers want to organize. We have workers all over the country already in communication with us, wanting to organize their locals.
You guys are independent. I've heard been told you're no plans to affiliate with anybody. I guess, do you have any support in the outside help at all going into this next step, or in terms of guidance, in terms of support for the bargaining table and actions at that point, and how you get Amazon at that point?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, we have huge support with established unions, over millions of members. They've provided space to us, resources to be able to get through this election. And for example, phone banking at Unite Here or UFCW, Unite Here Local 100, they gave us 2 floors even to organize and use their office space for phone banking. Of course, going into contract negotiations, we've already hit Amazon with 16 immediate changes in policies that we're recommending and plan to do even more that they can immediately implement while bargaining for our first contract.
Can you speak to those? Have you released those yet? Or?
Yeah. So we have the first 8 up on social media, on at least Instagram and Facebook. I believe Twitter as well. But yeah, so in those 8 immediate changes, some of them highlight health and safety. For example, if any worker gets injured on the job, they'll get sent home with pay. For critical roles such as Water Spider, PGs, the Rock Team, anything like that, where they're, forced to do some kind of training for, it takes extra work to do. We're recommending a pay increase and a bump up from Tier 1 to Tier 2.
Got it. And do you expect Amazon to play hardball at the bargaining table, and do you have a plan for forcing the issue?
To them, we say our labor power is strong, and we'll be looking forward to negotiating with you at the contract bargaining table.
Thank you.
Hey, we're live.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Remind me your name and how long have you been working at Amazon for?
My name is Justine Medina, and I've been working at Amazon for a little over 6 months.
And it's amazing. People need to understand to even get. And by the way, smash the like button. We're live. Press that like button. This is history. This is
happening right now.
History. You're not going to see that much attention on CNN about this. You will see it on Status Coup. Now, it was very difficult just to get the green light for an election.
Yes.
Because you said you worked at Amazon for 6 months. Amazon's turnover rate at this warehouse is about 150%,
Yes, it is.
meaning they're hiring and firing
Constantly.
constantly. Can you talk about just getting the green light for this, how difficult it was, and what did you guys do differently than other organizers that might have not had as much success?
Well, I think a big part of why we were able to have this victory is because we are workers in the warehouse. I got a job at Amazon to help with the unionization effort, but that meant making myself a worker at Amazon and being there 24/7. So we were talking with people outside of the warehouse at the bus stop, of course, sort of lots of famous pictures of our tent and the campfires and the food we had there. But we were also inside on our breaks and even just during our shifts talking with people all the time. So it was really a 24/7 effort to even just spread the word about unionization and get people even thinking like, yeah, maybe we should have a union, I guess we should have an election, and just sort of constantly talking with people. And sometimes in the beginning, it felt like pulling teeth, but the more and more people we were able to get, we could say, we've gotten 500 workers to sign, we've gotten 1,000 workers to sign, and that helped other workers feel confident, like they weren't alone, and show that there really was a solidarity towards doing this.
Could you also just give people insight, because there was union busting signs in the bathroom, on the break room. Amazon managers were literally taking union literature and confiscating it out of the break room, which, by the way, is against labor law. I know stories about Amazon not calling ambulances when people were hurt and injured. I know that Amazon spent millions of dollars on union busting consultants who pulled workers aside to basically tell them, hey, if this goes through, we might have to cut hours, this and that. And people might not know, a lot of the workers are younger. A lot of the workers, 18 to 25, and don't know their rights. Can you kind of talk about everything Amazon threw at, Amazon Labor Union?
Yes, Amazon has been spending millions of dollars to fight against Amazon Labor Union, as you said, since last summer. They were sicking security on organizers. They were calling the cops on organizers. They were hiring union busters that make $2,000-$3,000 a day to scare people out of forming a union. And yeah, by the time they got the anti-union literature up in the last few months, it was every 5 feet. Literally every 5 feet there were signs, some of them 50 feet tall, saying, vote no. It's up to you, vote no. And they would scare people in these captive audiences saying, your pay might be cut. Your benefits might be cut. We don't know what's going to happen if there's a union, when of course that's complete lies. Like, that's not what happens when a union comes in. You just build upon what there already is. But yes, a lot of people don't know, either because they're younger or even if they're older. Unfortunately, union rates have been very low in this country, the lowest rate they've been ever. So a lot of people just don't know the benefits of a union because they haven't before now had the opportunity to be in one. But as we fought and kept going and, taught our coworkers about the benefits of a union, about how a union, if you win a union, you win a union contract, you have to win just cause firing. When you win a union contract, you can win stewards that can help on your behalf, be with you in disciplinary meetings, and just educate people on the benefits of unions, and then also educate people on the history of union busting. That's also very important to us. We educated a lot of people on the history of companies using police to come in and break up unions, using violence, using these similar lies. We would spread around the news stories that you would release or that other journalists would release, sort of helping contextualize what was going on. And so it would help workers understand, oh, this is just what companies do to crack down on unions. This is all lies. And why are they spending millions of dollars? If this is so bad, why are they trying so hard to stop it? Workers were just starting to say, it looks like you have something to hide to the Amazon management and to the Amazon union busters. They would be like, if you're because you're just drilling down on saying no, it makes you look shady and it makes you look like you have something to hide. So it was sort of backfiring on them by the end, which was good. But they spent millions of dollars, every day to just try to stop us.
Could you kind of talk about just the psychology of it? Because I'm sure you're kind of a progressive-minded person. You've seen there's a lot of people that kind of rode the Bernie wave in 2016 and 2020, maybe knocked on doors for other local progressive candidates that are kind of just fed up. I see it in my audience. People who think the system's too corrupt. Why bother? I'll protest and stuff, but nothing's going to change. And, a cynicism, understandably, falls in. But when I'm on the road or when I'm at Amazon warehouse, you see workers kind of blocking that out to a certain degree, even though there's probably been a lot of low points for the last year. Talk about that kind of, what should people who might feel hopeless or we have a two-party duopoly, why should they look at this and realize there is hope?
Well, it's a revolutionary optimism, right? It's knowing that the working class can seize power and can make their lives better, make our lives better. I do think it's important to still try to work within the political system where you can. I think you have to contest power and fight back against the duopoly, against the oligarchy where they're at. But that also means fighting back in the workplace. And I think a lot of workers are really starting to realize it because they did go in on trying to help progressives win, to try to make political changes. But then they realized that those changes weren't going to come from the top. The changes in our history have only ever come from workers and oppressed people coming together, banding together, and fighting for those changes themselves. And the only time politicians have ever made changes, it's because they were pressured to and forced to by the workers coming together and making those changes happen through direct action. So it's people realizing that when they organize at their workplace and they hurt the politicians where it hurts them most at their wallets, and they hurt the capitalist class that are controlling the politicians where they're going to feel it the most, then that'll force changes all the way up, forcing from the bottom. And people saw, during the pandemic, right, they saw politicians mostly not doing anything to help the workers here. There was a pittance, of some stimulus money, but it wasn't enough. Businesses were being closed, evictions were happening, people were getting sick, people were dying. But they saw workers striking. They saw workers walking out. They saw workers doing collective action to force their employers to give them things that they needed. They saw workers forcing Amazon to implement safety changes for COVID that they're trying to pull back on. But that happened because of worker pressure. So you see normal people realizing we can make changes. It's just where do we have to bring the fight? And you have to bring the fight where you are all the time, which is in your workplace. So I think people are paying attention to that the workplace actions are actually forcing the changes that we need, unlike the political arena where, again, you need to fight there too, but more you need to fight on the job and in the streets.
And last question, do you think it's possible Jeff Bezos today is so infuriated, so depressed, so out of his mind that he might permanently go to space?
I hope so. I think we need to launch him into space because Jeff Bezos has caused the deaths of thousands of Amazon workers who've died from COVID, and the exploitation and suffering that he's given from so many people, and then he gives this sort of fake thank you when he comes back down from his rocket saying, this is because of my workers. And it's like, yeah, you're damn right. We're the reason that you are the second richest man in the world, so you should give us what is due to us. So yeah, I hope he goes into space and he stays there for forever. That would be nice.
And lastly, I just want to tell the audience, if you're not aware of this story, because she mentioned workers that died from COVID, Status Coup was the first outlet to cover the death of Pashawn Brown. Pashawn Brown was a 38-year-old worker in Virginia. Amazon had her and others administering COVID tests, administering nasal swabs on coworkers. She was not a nurse. She was not a doctor. She had no training to do that. Amazon did not give her N95 mask, shield, gown. They told her that she would get a bonus, which she never got. There was no plexiglass or anything to protect her, and she was administering COVID swabs on workers pretty much all day for several months. She dropped dead suddenly at 38 years old. She called her sister on a Thursday night, said, "I have a headache." The next morning, she still didn't feel well. She made her daughter, a 12-year-old, breakfast. She went back to bed. She never woke up. Now, to be clear, I don't know if she died from COVID. Nobody does, because Amazon would not pay for an autopsy. The family asked Amazon to help pay for an autopsy. Amazon refused. What they gave the family was 2 months of counseling for her 12-year-old daughter. So that's the company here. And why wouldn't they pay for an autopsy? I wonder why. I'm not a doctor, but typically 38-year-olds don't drop dead out of nowhere when they don't have major health problems, which she didn't. 38-year-old woman, Pashawn Brown, a black Amazon worker, drops dead at 38. So that's, remember her and have her in her thoughts. And her sister, Christina, who I've interviewed many times, has been fighting to make sure people know about Pashawn Brown, because I'll tell you what, the mainstream media would not cover it. Amazon fed them a bunch of bullshit, and the mainstream media would not cover the death of Pashawn Brown. And Amazon would not talk to me on the record. They would not talk to me, they only would talk to me off the record. Well, when trillion-dollar corporations want to talk to you off the record, it's to feed you lies and then have you regurgitate those lies. That's why I don't work in corporate media. I would make a lot more money if I worked in corporate media. Status Coup would be much bigger if we were like merged into CNN. But I need to be able to look in a mirror. This woman, she loved to bake, loved cooking, loved her family, loved her daughter, who's now 13. And she's gone. We have no idea why. Amazon would not pay for it. And Amazon basically denied that she was testing coworkers, even though I have video of where she was testing coworkers, and I have other coworkers on the record saying as such, that it was not just her, it was others. So this is the company that spends hundreds of millions of dollars on PR. You know those commercials with, this guy, Amazon paid for me to go through nursing school, and he finishes the commercial on a beach, looking at the sunset. Yeah, they're very great at creating images. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting. Amazon spends so much money on this PR campaign to cover up for their deaths, and the workers don't hear about stuff like this. I mean, workers die, you know, whether it's Pashawn Brown, whether it's the workers who died in Edwardsville from the tornado, whether it's other workers who have died from COVID, whether it was the worker that died in the parking lot last fall getting hit by a car on her break. You know, Amazon tries to cover that stuff up. ALU held a memorial for her, and ALU has been memorializing and working in the memory of Pashawn Brown this entire time because we care about our coworkers, because that's who we're fighting for. And Amazon says these lies. They say we're one team, we're one family. But if it's in a family, it's an abusive family. It's not a family that cares about each other. But we, as a union family, we care about each other. We take care of each other. Whether you voted no, we don't care. We want to fight for you. We're fighting for all workers because we deserve basic dignity that Amazon refuses to give to us. So we're going to make that happen, and we're going to make that happen for the memory of Pashawn and for all of the workers that have died so that Jeff Bezos could hold profits that he stole.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Tristan.
Yes, sir.
Tristan.
You can.
By the way, smash the like button, share this live stream. By the way, I will toot my horn and Status Quo's horn. We were out there for nearly a year on the ground. I was out there in 100-degree weather. I was out there in the frigid cold. I was out there in storms. So is Jamal behind the camera, okay? When nobody was talking about this. It was not a story that was going to go viral or make us a ton of money. That's the importance of what we do at Status Coup. That's the importance of independent media, to keep going out there, to keep speaking with the workers, even when you don't think there's a chance in hell of victory. You got it. We have to cover the fight. You have to cover the fight of working class people. So if you're not already supporting us, sign up today. You can sign up for $5 a month. StatusCoup.com/join. We're going to do our call with our members next week through Zoom. Sign up. $5 a month is 16 cents a day. We have other levels too. StatusCoup.com/join. Tristan, you're with Amazon Labor Union. First of all, tell people, how long does it take you to get to work every day? And how many modes of transportation do you have to take?
Yeah, it takes me because I live in Brooklyn, it takes me 2 hours to get to work. I got to take a bus, then I got to take a train, then I got to take the ferry, then I got to take another snail bus all the way to the last stop to Amazon warehouse. So it's a long, boring travel. And sometimes I'll be running late because the S40 and the S90 bus sometimes be packed with so much people, and I don't like crowds. So I may have to wait a long time for another bus to come, and that's when I run late to work, and that's where it becomes an issue.
So a bus, a subway, ferry, and it's packed during a pandemic, and then you work, 9-10 hours?
Yeah, I work from 7:15 in the morning to 5:45 in the evening. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 or 12 hours. Depends if they want you mandatory overtime to work an extra hour. This job takes a toll on you.
And I assume when you add in the 2 hours there and back, you're talking about 15, 16 hours of your day.
Yes, 15, 16 hours of my day. And it's any regular job would, the average worker will work maybe say 8 hours. Let's say they work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, but not Amazon. Amazon overworks you to the point where it just drives you insane that, you get a lot of pains in your body and all this stuff. Before I worked at Amazon, I've held many jobs where I never had these crazy hours before. So this is the only job that just that works me to death, seriously.
Can you kind of talk about, because, a lot of the workers are black, are brown, minorities, and Amazon literally had union consultants in there. Basically, I was told by several workers, calling members or calling Amazon Labor Union trying to organize, thugs, inarticulate. Can you kind of talk about the racial element of how they treated Amazon Labor Union?
Yeah, so I didn't, when they threw these silly terms, I didn't like it because I'm a black man myself and I'm not a thug and I'm not uneducated. I'm a regular, decent person that's just working and just living his life and stuff. And I feel like that was a racist statement because, Amazon is racist because they do tend to, back then I used to think it was a black and brown situation. They used to target us the most, but it's a people situation. It's workers from all different backgrounds and races, whether you're black, white, Asian, Latino, they go through the same harsh, excruciating treatment at Amazon of being targeted with write-ups, productivity. No matter who you are, if you're a union organizer, they will still throw these silly labels at you, which is very ignorant and, and trust me, my union comrades, who they're not thugs. They're not in no gang or none of that. They're just regular, decent. I know them. They're regular, decent guys like me. Trying to fight.
And my last question, there's a lot of people who think the system is too corrupt in America. Who think, hey, we tried to elect Bernie, or we tried this, or Black Lives Matter, this and that, but nothing seems to change. You guys just won, in my view, one of the most historic working class victories, maybe of this century. Starbucks is doing amazing things. Shout out to them. this was a 6,000 person warehouse, and they keep hiring and firing people, so it was very hard for you to even get enough signatures to get the green light to hold an election. What do you think was the main driver of this victory? Because ultimately, you guys are going to win by several hundred votes.
Yeah, so I like to big up Chris Smalls, Derek, Brett, and many other union organizers for putting their life on the line to help unionize a multi-billion-dollar company. We faced a lot of turmoil, a lot of tribulation. Trying to organize. We've had people that betrayed us, walked away, just didn't want to be part of the union no more, and that's okay. We wish them well. We still gonna keep going no matter what. And Amazon was pay and send these union busters to spread a lot of lies and falsehood about the unions, and these people get paid, compensated like thousands of dollars for the day, and every day that's almost close to $1 million, all just to run in their mouth and talking silliness. And that's just very mind blowing for me to I never experienced in a job in my life, in my 27 years of my life, I never experienced a job that faced a lot of obstacles and a lot of craziness. A lot of three of my union coworkers was falsely arrested just for giving out food. I witnessed the whole thing. Karen filmed it, but I witnessed it as well. And this just goes to show that unionizing or organizing is not an easy job. It could be dangerous too as well. And we gotta just be careful and stuff. And this is not about me being hateful or bitter towards Amazon. It's about speaking the truth and addressing certain things addressing things that's detrimental to workers. Speaking up for what's right.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. Absolutely. So that was Tristan. 15, 16-hour day at Amazon with all this travel. You got to understand, in New York City, if you're coming to Staten Island, where the warehouse is, from Brooklyn, Queens, a lot of people are coming from Jersey. I mean, you are talking literally 2-3 hours just to get to work and then break your back at work. That's what is going on. So when people get their yoga mat in 2 hours or whatever it is from Prime, it's people like Tristan back-breaking work and working 15, 16 hours a day to deliver that. So I don't, everybody kind of lives in their own bubble, particularly people that are doing a little better. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, but I hope people start to realize that you're not getting these products quickly or cheaper without a lot of human suffering behind it. And it's mostly coming from working class people. It's mostly coming a lot of black and brown labor, a lot of poor white labor too. I mean, literally, they are packing people like sardines throughout the pandemic. Amazon was actually, when the New York Times came, Amazon literally told people to go on break to basically trick the New York Times into thinking they had less workers and were social distancing. And when the New York Times is gone, they pack people back. That's what's going on. And for what? They would still make unfathomable money if they paid the workers more benefits, safer conditions. But they got to keep jacking up the quarterly profits, the stock buybacks, all that stuff. So that's basically what I've been covering now for over a year. And I spoke with Amazon workers outside that warehouse who work 10, 11 hours, who are literally sleeping in their cars. They in New York City, 18, 19 bucks an hour doesn't really get you that far, especially as rent right now is going up 30, 40% in a lot of places. So you got homeless workers. You got workers still living with their family, even in their late 20s, 30s. You got workers basically doing roommate situations at 40, 50. And this is one of the most profitable companies on planet Earth. Let me see who else I can talk to. Hold on. Hey, Connor. when you get a chance. So this is Connor. You've been in the trenches early on with Christian and everybody else. I was just talking about with other people, I mean, just the insane amount of union busting Amazon was doing. Signs everywhere in the bathroom, this and that. Union busting consultants pulling workers aside. I wanted to just ask you, what's your personal experience at Amazon? Because I've just been talking to other people about, 2-3 hours to get to work, back-breaking work. What's it been like for you?
So, yeah, I've been with Amazon since 2017. Believe it or not, it used to be worse. A lot of things incidentally got better because of COVID policies that they introduced. But, when I started, it was just grueling work. It was very tough rate-based quotas that you had to meet in the warehouse. It was an extremely unapproachable management team, unapproachable HR team whose job was literally just to protect the company, not help the worker at all. People would get fired left and right, get written up left and right, and they would essentially just treat us like numbers. They would treat us like robots. For all these years I worked at Amazon, I always knew we needed a union. I wish it would happen. I wish somebody would come and unionize Amazon, and then I think after a few years I realized it's not going to happen unless the workers do it themselves. So that's where this all came from. That's why I met up with Chris and Derek, and we got started on this project together. And 11 months later, not even 11 months later, I think a year and a half later, this is a reality now.
Can you kind of talk about, because I think the labor movement, like traditional unions, are pretty shocked right now. Yeah. And I know some of them have been calling you guys to see if you'll officially form with an established union. But could you kind of talk about doing this as workers without an established union? I mean, how do you pull something like that off at a 6,000 worker warehouse with Amazon pouring in millions of dollars to discredit you, to propagandize? What was the key ingredient?
I'm not sure. So, I mean, the idea of unionizing independently isn't so insane because all of these established unions started off that way in the beginning. Maybe they've forgotten the spirit that started them off in the first place. But it's important to understand that any union is it's just an organization of workers. It's workers who want to come together and improve their working conditions. And if you keep that idea in mind, you can organize any company in the world because it's not about bringing in a large established union, having a huge organizing budget, and having 50 external organizers standing outside the building. It's about, are the workers inside motivated to fight for better working conditions? And once you have those one-on-one conversations with people and you get them to that position of understanding that they are responsible for their destiny, they have to work together to demand something better, then it's possible to organize anything. And like I said, so it's not a crazy idea to think that you could organize something independently. I think we definitely did something historic by organizing the hardest company to organize probably in the U.S., and we chose to make it more difficult for ourselves by doing it independently. But I think that's why we had success where others didn't.
Can you kind of talk about, just among you guys, while you were doing this, Jeff Bezos took this, space shuttle to space, cowboy hat. The media was covering it like it was the top story in the world. And, there's a lot of money that's poured into putting out rainbows and sunshine images of Amazon. So how did you guys deal with that when the actual reality on the ground that led to him having the ability to do that?
I mean, I'm glad he did it because it was just another way we could show workers that the money that you make for the company is not being given back to you. It's being used for stupid bullshit. And there were a lot of instances during the campaign where Amazon shot themselves in the foot because they're just so out of touch with the workforce that they made huge blunders and helped us rally more workers to our side. There was an instance where they made a network-wide change to cut hours for part-time workers and limit the amount of overtime hours that they could take. And it might have made sense, in a short-term profit perspective for doing that for the the whole network of warehouses, but it really screwed them over for the union campaign and the one warehouse that was organizing, because all of those workers suddenly realized they don't have the power to stop Amazon from making changes that negatively impact them. And so I almost feel bad for the management team, because they would definitely get orders from higher up saying, you got to stop this union campaign at any cost, and then immediately afterwards they say, oh, by the way, cut hours for all these workers. And it's just like this idea that Amazon is so big that the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, that they keep prioritizing short-term profits over probably would have been long-term profits if they didn't have a union. Those kinds of mistakes, those blunders, really helped us. It was we owe a lot of our successes to their failures as well.
And also, I was there, sweltering heat, ambulances are coming back and forth to the warehouse constantly. I was told by many workers, there were some workers that was pulled out on stretchers. When you move up floors, it felt like 100-something degrees. Meanwhile, HR and management, some of them have hoodies on because their air conditioning is too cold. So can you kind of talk about, it's kind of a tale of two cities for upper management and execs compared to the work?
Yeah, you have a kind of like an example of the class structure that exists within the warehouse itself. The management is so disconnected from the workforce, and part of the reason is that they have this policy where it's very difficult to be promoted internally. Most of the managers, like 80%, 85%, are external hires, college hires. A lot of them never even worked a job before. So you definitely have this division in the workforce of like tier 1 and tier 3 workers versus management, because they essentially made it so that division has to exist. And it's another way that it backfired on them. If the workers had more of a chance to move up in the company, the workplace would look a lot better, because you'd have people at the top who understand what it felt like to be at the bottom.
Lastly, it doesn't seem like you guys got a lot of political help during this. We know AOC and everything. She flaked on you last minute. Jamal Bowman's a congressman in New York. Mondaire Jones. You can't get in people's head, but why do you think you guys were basically fending for yourselves, where progressive congresspeople in their backyard weren't even tweeting on your behalf?
I think it's just that our campaign and our model was such a long shot. They saw it as risky to even associate with us, because at the end of the day, they are politicians as much as they, say that they're on the side of the workers. They have to prioritize getting reelected and all that stuff. But as far as the AOC thing, it wasn't even so much the fact that she flaked out on us. It was more the fact that she went radio silent for 6 months after that and didn't show a word of support for us until it was clear that we were going to win. And it was that way with Jamal Bowman as well, and a lot of these politicians. But I'm not really upset about it, because at the end of the day, we are an apolitical union. We don't want to be reliant on political outsiders. It would have helped. It would have made things a little bit easier for us, because they have such a large platform. They could have gotten us more donations or more visibility, or helped the workers see that we are more credible. But at the end of the day,
speak up when workers are getting arrested for handing out chicken.
We have one of our organizers who was illegally terminated, Daquan Smith, was staying at a homeless shelter in AOC's district, and we tried to see if we could reach out to her to get some help with that, but we weren't able to. But at the end of the day, we won without them, and we can continue to achieve big victories without them. It would have been helpful to have that support early on. It's not really fair for them to stand at the finish line now and say that they support us, because we needed the support in the beginning. We don't need it now. But yeah, it is what it is.
And lastly, I think whatever political ideology you are, for working class people, it's a whole lot of people that have lost hope, think the system is too corrupt to change anything. Two-party duopoly. They're disappointed with, progressives. They got dejected after Bernie lost twice. What do you guys say to people who might be very cynical and feel like there is no hope?
I think it's just a matter of having one-on-one conversations with people to reignite that hope that there is a better future in store for all of us. Because we have people in our union who are from all political ideologies. They're conservative, they're liberal, they're whatever, socialist. Because the idea that two people working together is stronger than one person working by themselves, that's That's not a partisan idea. That is something that is pretty much clear to everybody. It's just helping people to remember that reality and helping them understand, make the connection between that idea and their working conditions. The idea, you create all this value for the company and you get none of it back. How can you fix that? Can you do it by yourself, or can you do it with all of your coworkers working together? And it's really obvious when you put it in those terms. And so if we are able to do that here in Staten Island and expand and do it beyond, and I think the fact that we were able to do it here should give hope to everybody that you can unionize. If a group of ragtag workers with no resources, with little experience, could achieve this huge victory at the hardest company to unionize in the world, you can do it anywhere, and workers everywhere can improve their working conditions, and it's really not a complicated process. So that's what we wanted to be. We wanted to set an example for everybody across the country. As we expand, we want other groups to start doing what we did and expand as well.
I just want to have a little fun. Do you think it's possible today Jeff Bezos is so upset, frustrated, shocked that he might permanently go to space?
I wish. I really would love to be a fly on the wall in whatever meetings they're having right now, because it's probably insane. I'm dying to go back to my warehouse right now and look at all the managers who for 11 months did everything they could to interfere with the workers' right to have a union. And I just want to communicate with them the fact that you sold your soul and you still lost. So I really am excited to go back and see the look on their faces, essentially. But I would really love to see the look on Jeff Bezos' face right now.
Of course. So that was Connor, who's been in this from the beginning. Reminder, smash the like button, share this live stream. Like button is right under the live stream. Super chats are welcome. And also, again, we've been covering this for nearly a year. We were out there when nobody was out there. We were out there in very, very sweltering heat over the summer. We've been out there in windstorms, in storms, and frigid cold. I'm not telling you this, for points. I'm telling you this because, not that we're responsible for this victory, but I believe, not as a journalist, but just as a person, it is very important to continue covering the fight. I understand that there's YouTube hosts out there that want you to think, burn it all down, nothing, we'll never get any victories, and the system's too corrupt. The system is very corrupt, but that doesn't mean you get into fetal position and do nothing, because that's where Jeff Bezos wants you. That's where Elon Musk wants you. That's where the Republican and the Democratic elites want you. And these workers, young people, black, white, brown, Asian, they just defeated the biggest union buster possibly in the world. There's a reason there's never been a unionized Amazon in America. And the union busting that they went through over the last year, everything else is child's play. They were literally calling workers at their home. They were literally telling workers that the Amazon labor union is going to come to your home in almost like threatening language, like anti-immigrant fervor. So this is history. So don't think just because you're politically disappointed, you're disappointed in Bernie maybe, or the squad, or this and that there's no hope to get better material conditions, because there is. Because, not to be corny, there is more of us than there are of the rich people. But us needs to stop fighting amongst each other. You don't have to agree on every little thing. I don't really know where the progressive movement got this idea that if you don't agree on every little thing, that you're a sellout or a fraud or this and that. This is non-productive distractions. The key is to organize. And what organize means is the little things. Christian Smalls, who will be coming out soon, he was literally out there almost every day with a blue tent, even when they weren't getting any success. They used donations to start handing out free food. They had barbecues on the 4th of July with workers, this and that. What they're talking about is those personal conversations. They talked to thousands of workers one-on-one. And these workers were being fed propaganda, and a lot of them were on the fence. But they continually, time after time, received communication from Amazon labor union workers. So that's what it takes. And you're not always going to win. More times than not, we're going to lose. But these kind of wins build, and I got news for you. Kudos to Starbucks. Their victory in Buffalo, which we were on the ground and covered, created a tidal wave. I think you have nearly 200 Starbucks around the country that are now filing for a union. This Amazon victory is going to be a tsunami. I'm telling you. You are going to start seeing other warehouses around this country filing for a union. A lot of them at Amazon. And by the way, Amazon, they're going to try everything in their power, legal and illegal, to stop it. But they might eventually have to be forced to offer better benefits and pay to actually sway people against unionizing. Starbucks is doing that now. Howard Schultz, the former CEO, who's now the current CEO again, he came in and he's now saying we're going to offer better benefits. So that's the power of organizing. Hey, can I interview you?
Oh, I don't think I would be a good subject.
Okay.
I'm just a supporter.
That's fine. Karen! Can I speak with you? Come on over. No, don't be shy. Karen, you're with ALU. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than this is absolutely historic. Covering this for nearly a year, I didn't always see victory because I saw, I was seeing the signage all over the warehouse, union busting, them telling workers, if this union passes, we might have to cut hours, this, that, and the other thing. Can you kind of talk about just like a lot of the folks I talked to said, I thought we were going to win most of the way. Why did you guys have so much confidence that you could be victorious against really, really thick union busting?
I think that it's because the workers are tired, and I remind everybody, whether they claim to be pro-union or not, I'm like, you're already an advocate, you're already complaining. I'm like, so let's do something formal and legal about it. I'm like, let's exercise our right and hold Amazon accountable by putting this on a contract. I mean, they tried many things by calling us inexperienced. They've made it seem like we just want to take people's money, like we're going to make things worse, or calling us a third party, even, the whole story. But I'm like, this is a worker-led movement. We're not going to do anything to, stab ourselves in the back. The great thing about us for, being worker-led and independent is that we have that flexibility, to have our own dues, to do this how we want. And what else can I say? Well, I mean, if we lost, I was like, I don't want to hear all of those people that complain ever again, because I'm like, this is our time, I'm like, we don't have time to wait for an established union. It's like now or never. I'm like, we made it this far. We have the election, and I'm like, now, like, the most important part is like staying united and staying, like, growing bigger. So we're always trying to recruit more organizers and making them feel welcomed and part of this. I'm like, because this is a win for everybody. It's not like a win for me or for Chris. I'm like, this is for all of us.
And also, I know that there's been kind of this narrative that COVID's over and we need to learn to live with it. They were literally packing you workers like sardines, like normal, at the worst of this pandemic. In the beginning, they prioritize hand sanitizer for customers over workers. As far as I know, they weren't providing N95 masks or anything like that. And I know when certain media outlets came in, they would put workers on break to try and make it look like they had less workers there for social distancing. So can you kind of talk about during a pandemic where they hid how many people, they hid the real amount of cases they had, how many people died. I mean, it's really, really a horrible thing for a company that's PR pushes out this image of togetherness and all that. I
was there for the pandemic. I was in the delivery station, though. Of course, they called us heroes. They called us essential. And I mean, it's sad, now to see, later on, fast forward, now they're going to be like, oh, this job doesn't require any skills. You're replaceable. Oh, you guys don't need a union. That's for careers. And it's like, no.
It is mathematically impossible.
What is this?
It's official.
It's mathematically impossible.
So it is now official. It's now mathematically impossible for Amazon to come back and win. So they are now the first unionized Amazon in the country. It's official now, huh?
I mean, it's mathematically impossible for Amazon to come back from this. It's 2600 to 2101. So we won. It's we definitely won. We did it. Yeah. So
They won.
yeah.
They won.
Karen, come here. Hug me. Oh my god.
After many months.
So they're hugging and embracing. This is the organizers with ALU. I would expect Christian Smalls and the other folks who were in there observing the count to be out soon. There's a.
Have to go by the press.
Let's walk over to the where the microphones are. You don't have to take my jacket or anything. So we're moving over now to the press area.
Oh, I thought I still not Sunday. No.
Yes, as I was saying, thank everybody for their support. Put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into unionizing.
Speak closer.
Be closer.
Yeah.
Be closer, right? All right. I want to thank everybody for their support. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and dedication and commitment into unionizing Amazon, and let's change the world. Let's make a difference. Who run this town?
We run this town.
Who run these streets?
We run these streets.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
When I say Ayo, y'all say you.
You.
Ayo, you. Ayo, you. Ayo, you.
Woo!
How do you feel right now?
Amazing.
Incredible.
Incredible. And it's not stopping at JFK 8. You know, we have the LDJ5 election. Mitch, Maddie, where'd you go, Maddie? Where'd she go? She went
Where did
away.
Maddie go?
She I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Coming up in just a month, we got
4
the
weeks.
LDJ.
4 weeks. We've got the LDJ5 election, and we have workers across the country reaching out to us, wanting to organize with the Amazon Labor Union. Even workers down in Bessemer, you know, they're still counting their votes. But if that ends up not coming from them, they've been saying they want to join the ALU effort. Amazon workers want unions because they want what they deserve. They want their fair share from the fifth richest company in the world, from the second richest man in the world, who uses them, exploits them, spits them out, makes them die so that he can go to space. And workers are tired of that. So we're fighting for ourselves, but we're fighting for workers everywhere to get their fair share and get what they deserve. So I'm going to pass over to someone else. But yeah, I'm Justine Medina, JUSTINE-MEDINA. I'm 32. I'm a packer at JFK 8. So right now, I mean, they're still finishing the count, but the latest count is 2600 to 2101. It's mathematically impossible for Amazon to come back for that. So the Amazon Labor Union has just won the first union for Amazon workers in American history.
But wait on Chris for the official
yes,
call.
That's true.
Wait on Chris for the official call.
Right. Although,
Yeah. I mean, I think this is even bigger than just Amazon workers. This is about. You want me to get closer? All right. You want to switch spots? Yeah. I mean, this is bigger than just Amazon workers. This is a movement that I think is going to explode into something truly phenomenally worker-led. This is a chance, I think, for us to tell the billionaires and their mega corporations that we are not going to stand for them taking our labor, that we're not going to stand for them taking our worth, and that we're not going to stand for them taking our voice. Because when it comes down to it, what this whole movement has been about is love and looking at our family around us, at our union family around us, and knowing that when they are hurting, we are hurting. And when they need something, we need something. Mm-hmm. And that when they vote yes, we vote yes. Mm-hmm. And so when all of these people came out and supported the union, this was a call to action, not just for Amazon workers here, but for Amazon workers around the U.S. and for workers around the U.S. and the world to come together and take back what is actually ours and what we deserve. So I think this is a phenomenal day for the history of the labor movement and for all of our comrades right here.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right, bro. That's
All
right.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Yeah, for sure. Julian Mitchell Israel, Julian space MITCHELL hyphen ISRAEL. But everyone calls me Mitch, so. What? I wish. I'm sorry. Someone does. Someone does. Karen, here we go.
You got this, Karen.
Bueno, quiero decirle a todos los trabajadores del edificio JFK que este es nuestro momento. Va a ser el primer sindicato de Amazon en los Estados Unidos, en la nación. Los trabajadores han ganado, pero voy a dejar que el presidente lo confirme. Yeah.
That's right, we did it.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
I think we have the final number. 2654 yes to 2131 no. So I'll wait for them to come out before we confirm it, but that's what I'm being told is the final number. It's yeah, one sec. 2654 yes to 2131 no.
Connor. Oh.
I'm Connor. Connor Spence. CONNORSPENCE.
What's your position?
I'm the Vice President of Membership for the Amazon Labor Union.
What will you guys be fighting for first? Now that you have a union?
Well, our contract demands are surveyed from the workers, so we have to find out what the workers feel most strongly about. However, I could tell you number one on the list is going to be higher pay. The cost of living in New York is way too high. Amazon does not pay a living wage, so that's going to be the first thing that we fight for. And then generally, better working conditions, longer breaks, more time off, job security, and a lot of workers want a pension, and they want to turn Amazon into a long-term middle-class job instead of a job that just churns through workers at a rate of 150% per year.
Do you have a message for?
Sorry, what'd you say? 2154 yes. No, it was 26 something yes. Hold on.
2654.
2654 yes. 2131 no.
Connor, do you or anyone else have a message for Jeff Bezos? I assume he's not on his rocket today, but he has been a union buster for many years, and you know the leadership here called you guys amateurs, called you guys worse. What's your message for Bezos and leadership?
So to answer your question, my last name is Spence, SPENCE. And as far as my message to Jeff Bezos, he spent a lot of money to try to stop workers from having a democratic voice in this process. I think I just want to keep it positive and say I hope Amazon can turn this around and work with us and the workers in Staten Island and beyond to improve our working conditions. I think they've said pretty decisively that they're not happy with the way things are now. And I hope that we can work together and achieve a positive outcome. I'm not optimistic that they will, but I would ask Jeff Bezos, if he's watching, to make the choice to be a better person and give your workers a better life.
Beautiful. All right. This is history, guys. This is absolutely history. Keep smashing the like button. Keep smashing the like button. Keep sharing this live stream.
I just want to say that I'm so proud of this team. We really started with nothing. We still have nothing, but we have in terms of money. But we have each other, and that's what matters. That's how we won this campaign with the best team. And so I just. I'm so proud. This is the most amazing team We really started just a few of us in a tent talking to workers, and we've grown so much from there. And I think we've broken the glass on what people thought was impossible, which was organizing a union for Amazon. And so I think what we will be seeing in the next few years is ALU chapters popping up everywhere. So stay tuned for all that. This is just the beginning. and next month we already have our next election for the ALU in my building, LDJ5. And so we are looking forward to another victory. Yeah, my name is Madeline Wesley, Madeline Wesley, but I go by Maddie, Maddie. I work at LDJ5, the building across the street. The election is going to be starting April 25th.
Hey, Brett, can I? So you're the leading Amazon jailbird. You were arrested. You were arrested twice during this organizing campaign. The first time for putting up a tent, and the second time for passing out chicken. I wanted to ask you. For you, I mean, the brutality of this campaign by Amazon, they were seemingly using the police a lot to intimidate organizers, arrest organizers, not to mention suggesting to workers that your pay was going to get cut and all that. What does this moment mean for you? Because you put a lot of it on.
This means everything. This moment means everything to us. Clearly, Amazon and the executive board, Jeff Bezos, signed off on a smear campaign against Chris. It's always been about targeting Chris and the movement. They've known that the power has been with the people. This has been a completely community-led, community-supported campaign. We wouldn't have been able to do it without the power of the people, our community support. This is of, by, and for the workers.
So Christian Smalls just came out. They're behind that mob pit over there. We're actually going to stay over here to get a better shot. So they're chanting ALU, ALU. So they're about to come this way. Hold on.
De algo que se veía venir, pero ellos no le prestaron atención. Jason Anthony?
Watch out, Captain! To the first union in American history.
They're popping champagne behind there. Here we go.
Let me do everything first, and then I'll present you. Alright, y'all. First of all, thank you all for coming out. It was 2 intensive days, but it wasn't easy. But today, we made history to be the first independent worker-led union in the entire country in New York City. But
You got it, boy. You got it.
I'll let
This is my look.
my president, my boss,
Yeah, this
Chris Moss, do all the talking. So, with you guys, Chris Moss.
Yeah, this moment, damn, man, I ain't gonna cry right now, but damn, 2 years ago, my life changed forever. You know, I only wanted to do the right thing and speak up for the workers behind me. Jason was one of them, Derek, Jordan, Gerald, everybody, and JFK. You know, when COVID-19 came to play, Amazon failed us. They dropped the ball. They lied to the public saying they're doing all these things. None of that was the reality of our situation. So I let it walk out after they quarantined just me and nobody else. And that walkout led to my firing. Then a week after that, a couple weeks after that, maybe a week or two, that memo that came out calling me not smart or articulate. Ironically, they also said to make me the face of the whole unionizing efforts, which I had no intention at the time. And yeah, when I read that memo, that motivated me to start an organization called the Congress of Essential Workers, TCOEW. My brothers right here, Derek Palmer, Gerald Bryson, Jordan Flowers. We traveled the country. We picked up some comrades along the way. We protested in front of every Jeff Bezos mansion and penthouse that we can find on Google. And it led us to 11 months ago. After we went down to Alabama last year when they had their first campaign. And we saw some things that we thought that we could do better independently. So that's what we decided to do. We decided to come back home to Staten Island and start unionizing JFK. And not just JFK, we wanted all four of them. They built up 4 buildings in 2 years. So we said, you know what? This is our complex now. We tried to do 4 buildings. The first petition didn't go our way because Amazon fired 1,000 people in 6 months. Wasn't because we didn't sign up 2,000-3,000 people. We did that. But unfortunately, by the time we filed the petition and the process took a while, Amazon got rid of 1,000 people, whether they quit or they got fired. I'm blaming Amazon because they have a system that get rid of people anyway. So that's what happened.
Also tried to add 4,000 people to the payroll.
Yeah, that too. They gave us a faulty payroll, but it didn't matter. We were able to file right back in 6 weeks, and we got to an election with JFK by itself. And not only JFK, LDJ5 is next. It has an election coming up in April, which no doubt in my mind we're going to be successful in that one as well. Because once again, I spent the last 11 months, the folks behind me spent the last 11 months as well, inside, outside the building, at the bus stop, earning the trust of these workers, building relationships, raising money, creating GoFundMes for people that was fired, people that was homeless, people living in shelters, paying bills, cable bills, phone bills, feeding them. We had over 20-something barbecues. Sometimes they cooked, Derek cooked. We all contributed, giving out books, literature, giving out free weed because it's legal. We did that. Yes, we did. We did whatever it took to connect with those workers, to make their daily lives just a little bit easier, a little bit less stressful. We were that light at the end of the tunnel when they got off that S40 and that S90. When they got up, they saw us right there at that bus stop, having a bonfire, lighting up s'mores, whatever it took. We were right there for them every day, and I think that resonated with the workers. Something that no established union could do, because we are Amazon workers. Whether we former or current, we know the ins and outs of the company. We know these grievances better than anybody. We live this reality every single day. I lived it for 5 years. They're still living it. They're all current workers, except for a select few. And, you know, this is what it's about. We took care of one another. I took care of my employees when I was employed with this company. I opened up 3 buildings in the tri-state. I trained thousands of their employees. I trained hundreds of their upper management. The general manager now of JFK, they know me very well. We have a long history. My roots with the company is very deep. And I wrote that in a letter last week that was opened over 5,000 times. 5,000 workers opened that letter that I wrote. So that right there also helped the undecided people make a relationship and a connection with myself. You know, it's not about me. Amazon tried to make it about me from day one. And I never said it was going to be Amazon versus Chris Smalls. It's always going to be Amazon versus the people. And today the people have spoken, and the people wanted a union.
Hey, Chris.
How do you feel right now?
Chris?
Yeah.
What message does this give to Amazon and any other unionizing efforts that might now be launched?
Well, I can tell you now, we got the juggler. We went for the juggler. And we went for the top dog because we want every other industry, every other business to know that things have changed. We going unionize. We're not going to quit our jobs anymore. And, you know, this is a prime example of what the power that people have when they come together.
Chris, what's your message to Amazon executives today after this victory?
Oh, they're going to have to negotiate with their workers now. You know, my message is that now we have a union that they're going to have to collective bargain with.
And what's the first demand that your union is going to make?
Whatever we decide, you know, I'll go with whatever.
Well, I mean, what's your top priority?
Look, my top priority is whatever they is. You know, it's a democratic process. You know, I don't make any decision by myself. I know people do that, but I don't do that. They know me better than anybody else. I don't care about what everybody write, what everybody tweet on social media. It's all bull. My people that have been with me from day one know exactly what type of person I am. I'm unemployed. I haven't been employed since I've been fired. Every single day, I get up and I organize. That's all I do. Day in, day out, that's my lifestyle.
And your work isn't done because you've got another vote. So how
Yeah.
are you going to approach that upcoming vote now? Because the company will likely try and pull out maybe bigger guns.
What can they do? They already got me arrested. What more can they do? What more can they possibly do? You know, so I don't care what they do. It doesn't matter to us. You know, doesn't matter to us.
What's your message to other Amazon workers across the country?
Unionize. Yes. Reach out to us. We'll help you. We'll reach out. Y'all know how to reach out to me. I'm very accessible. I got the same number I have for the last 10 years.
What about other organizers in other places?
Chris, the effort in Bessemer, Mississippi failed. What is special about Staten Island? What's special about JFK8?
It's Bessemer, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know why they weren't successful. If they are going to be the challenges or whatever, I don't know everything that's going on. But I do know this: New York is a union town. I do know that every worker knows somebody that's in the union, related to somebody that's in the union. They're in close range of somebody that's in the union. The bus drivers, they get off the bus every day. They speak to union members. Alabama's a little different. Alabama's still fairly new. Gotcha. I'm sorry. The Alabama, Bessemer, that building been around for less than 2 years. So it's kind of like, you know, you get a new job, you walk in there, and then you're talking about a union. It's harder to influence your coworkers like that. JFK been around 4 years. The organizers I organized with, like, for example, Derek Palmer, our vice president, he's been an Amazon worker for 6 years. He knows people. Gerald Bryson, been there, he's from Staten Island. He's been there 3 years since the building opened, before they fired him, wrongfully. Myself, I opened up that building. You know, I trained these people. So it's just a different relationship that we have, a bigger influence that we have on our coworkers. And, you know, once again, we're going to support any efforts against Amazon, no matter what union is organizing. we're here to lend our advice, lend our support. All you got to do is bring us in. You know, we tried to help them. It didn't work out the first time around. I hope that everybody's paying attention now because a lot of people doubted us, and they know who they are. They didn't support us for 11 months. Everybody knows that. You know, we raised money through GoFundMe. We raised pennies. We had like $3 in our account just 3 weeks ago. So that just tells you how grassroots this campaign is. We had nothing. We started off with 2 tables, 2 chairs, and a tent. Yep. And that's it. No major support, no major resources, nothing. Not even a union hall. We were meeting up at inside of an apartment. We were meeting up at the bus stop. We were meeting up on Zoom just to make it past to the next week. And, you know, I wouldn't change it for anything. You know, the way we did it, the struggles, the ups and downs, the grind, the losses, the setbacks, it made us stronger. And that's what got us here to this day.
Hey Chris, what's your message to Amazon customers who, you know, maybe they enjoy getting stuff quickly, a little cheaper, but maybe they don't quite understand or haven't been informed of the backbreaking work, the conditions, the safety problems that all of you have dealt with? What's your message to customers?
Well, my message is simple. You know, stand in solidarity with the workers that come from your community. You know, we come from the community that Amazon sets up shop in. They benefit. They closing down small businesses. They hiring and firing, exploiting our people. We are the customers too. So stand in solidarity with us. You know, it's up to the media to get our stories out there. That's why we do this. We want our stories to be heard, our voices to be heard, so that you guys can share that with the public. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell the truth. You know, don't just get the spokesperson side because y'all know they're going to give y'all the same speech. Our story, our reality is what we live in. The customers need to know that. And if they don't support that business, then they don't stand in solidarity with the workers and their customers that come from the same community. So that's just, you know, I'm not going to call a boycott yet, but, you know, all I'm going to say is this, that stand in solidarity with the workers here, stand in solidarity with the workers in any community that has an Amazon facility because they affect your community. I know plenty of times Amazon set up a building and people in the community are upset because of the traffic they cause, because of the pollution they cause. There's a lot of different issues to talk about when it comes to Amazon, but I can tell you what, Amazon doesn't become Amazon without the people. And we make Amazon what it is.
Coming back? I'm going back at 2:30. I got to get me some.
I want to celebrate with them, you know? I want to have a celebratory moment. I want to get some sleep. I haven't slept in 2 years, so y'all seen the bags under my eyes. That's not how I really look, but you know what? I want to celebrate with JFK workers. They deserve it. You know, 4,000 of them showed up. Over 4,000 of them showed up for us. And then we got an election to win. We're going to have a meeting on Sunday. And we're going to get right back to the campaign, and we're going to focus on LDJ 5. That's our next battle. The independence was everything. You know, we didn't have, you know, we didn't have any, you know, outside, I guess you could say, interference. We had our own internal way we wanted to strategize against Amazon, and it worked for us. You know, and I always say, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this was working for us. We were signing people up. And if we needed the support, of course I would have made that decision early on. But as the interim president, I felt that it had to be us. And it worked for us. That's what got us to this point.
Chris, after celebrating, what does day one look like? You talked about elections on Sunday. After that, is it straight back to campaigning?
Yeah.
Or how
We're going right back. Monday, like I said, Sunday we're going to have a meeting. And Monday, we right back at it. We're going to be phone banking. We're going to be organizing LDJ 5 workers, making sure that they're committed to vote.
Do you have a message for Jeff Bezos?
Oh, we want to thank Jeff Bezos for going to space, because when he was up there, we was signing people up.
Yeah, we was down there campaigning.
We was out there getting sick.
Yeah, let's get my hand.
He was buying it.
I'm pretty sure he watched the count, or somebody informed him, so I don't got to say nothing to Jeff Bezos. I mean, you know, like I said, the workers now have a collective bargaining unit to bargain with.
Chris, they called you inarticulate. some other names for you and your coworkers. What's your message to Amazon management that tried to, basically knock you down?
How much money you was? What, $4.5 million to consulting lawyers and firms? The same lawyers I just shook hands while we kicked their ass.
Basically.
Yeah, they called us a bunch of thugs, we a bunch of thugs, and, racist stuff. They tried to spread racist rumors. They tried to say, I want to buy a Lamborghini. What other rumors y'all heard? I'm a gangbanger. I'm this, I'm that. It was a whole bunch of things they tried to do against me, against the ALU. They tried to demonize our character, but that didn't work, because people know who I am. You come speak to me in person. A lot of y'all interviewed me several times. Y'all know who I am. And this is what y'all see is what y'all get. I was like this at work. Day one, when I got hired at Amazon, in 2015, I walked in the building with same thing I'm wearing now. Gold grills, chains and everything. And I was on the line busting my ass. And I became a supervisor, and I was the same way. And
one of the best supervisors there.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. But they didn't know that. I earned respect of the employees. And, now I just play for a different team.
What is your message to those who voted for you? Who voted for the union?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Everybody that voted yes for the union, this right here is historical. This is for them. It's not for me personally. It's for them. Like, when I explain that to people, I'm saying, we're going to do this for you. I'm like, no. You're doing it for yourselves. This is for y'all. And that every vote count and every vote mattered. Their voices were heard. And like I said, it's Amazon versus the people, and the people have spoken.
And can you, I'm a bit late to the party. You said this already, I apologize. But what precedent do you feel this sets at other warehouses, especially in states like New York, where unions are stronger than they are in Alabama? What precedent does it set? Tell the camera, please.
This right here, this is going to be the catalyst for the revolution. That's exactly what this is. Y'all just witnessed that. That's all I can say about it. This is the catalyst for the revolution. Just like Starbucks, y'all see what's going on with the Starbucks unionizing across the country. We expect the same outcome. We already got interest in 18 different buildings in several different states. Workers reaching out to us. We want to help every single person we could. And I'm happy, once again, that I was able to be a part of this experience. So we don't know how that's going to get done yet, but I can tell you that everybody behind me is all fighters. And we're going to fight to the very end. We're going to give it everything we got. And I'm confident that this won't be the last unionization for Amazon.
And Chris, do you have a message, because a lot of mainstream media might not be aware of workers like Daquan Smith, who was fired and became homeless, workers like Bashan Brown, who was testing workers for COVID and dropped dead suddenly. Can you talk about the names that people might not know that have suffered at Amazon?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of names. Gerald Bryson is one of them. Jordan Flowers is one of them. Bashan Brown, Daquan Smith. Myself, I've been unemployed. I need my job back, right? Still pending with the AG's office. There's a lot of unheard voices, but the one that really, I'm glad you brought up Bashan Brown. She lost her life, 38 years old, black woman, testing Amazon workers, testing her coworkers in the middle of the pandemic, leaving behind her 12-year-old daughter, Gabby, because Amazon made workers test each other with no facial masks, no N95s, no cleaning, no gowns, no plexiglass in the warehouse. They had workers testing each other. I'm talking about swab. And she died. She lost her life. And that company, all they did was put up the GoFundMe that we put out there. That's it. That's all. And to be honest with you, the more I think about that, it infuriates me. But thankfully, I was able to get connected with her and help amplify it to some degree, but it's not enough. And that's why unionizing and coming together for workers to have a platform to tell their stories is important, because we need to hold the company accountable. Jeff Bezos needs to be held accountable. All the top executives need to be held accountable, because they're doing injustice to these workers. They're stealing labor. They're stealing money. They forcing workers to work long hours, calling MET whenever they want. Workers are not safe, and until they do better, once again, we're going to continue to organize. And I want to celebrate now. Y'all good? Any questions? Tyler, I gotta go home.
How would we improve this process to give workers a voice in their own lives?
Say that one more time.
If we lived in a just society, how would we improve this process to benefit workers?
Let me tell you something. When we started 11 months ago, where the hell was everybody at? So when y'all hear somebody's organizing the building, help them. Right off the bat, no questions. Just help them. That's it. If I could do this unemployed, what's stopping anybody? That's it. Let's go. That's all I gotta say. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Holla. Yeah. Hey,
So right now they're celebrating with all the cameras. I'm going to move over here. As we wrap up, I want to talk to the audience. So, yeah. So, I want to talk about the importance of this. I want to talk about the importance of this. For those of you that have never seen Status Coup, I've been reporting for years all over America. I covered Bernie in 2016, Trump in 2016. I was at Standing Rock. I've been to Flint nearly 20 times. And I and Status Coup were the only independent media outlet out there at the Staten Island warehouse covering this organizing campaign. We were out there last spring. We were out there in the summer. It was hot. We were out there in the fall and winter. It was cold. We were out there one day in a storm. Okay? And by the way, going out there, that's not the stories that go viral. That's not the stories that get, thousands and thousands and thousands of live viewers, because YouTube buries actual reporting. YouTube has been throttling and suppressing Status Coup basically for 4 years, and it gets worse almost every year. Okay? There's a huge incentive among other YouTube channels not to cover these things, not to do on-the-ground reporting. What generally sells on YouTube is sensationalism, is clickiness, is fighting with people, is drama and conflict. I would make a lot more money. We would make a lot more money. We would grow a lot quicker if we did that. If we just started bashing people in headlines and bashing people in headlines and, doing reactionary bullshit. But I do this for these moments, which do not come often. Let me tell you something. Most stories I cover are defeat. Most stories I cover are working people losing, or working people and just people being poisoned. But it's important to continue covering the fight. Win, lose, or draw. Not just the political fight, not just elections, but things like this. I'm not saying me being out there, I think I was out there 7 or 8 times. I'm not saying that's why they won, of course not. But we need to be out there to give voice to these workers, to these workers who I've spoken to who are homeless after working a 10-hour shift, to these workers I've spoken with who are being pulled out on a stretcher because of sweltering heat, where Amazon doesn't provide air conditioning for the workers, just a fan, when it's 90 degrees outside. These workers who are being arrested for handing out chicken, free food to fellow co-workers. These workers who have to travel 2-3 hours just to get to a 12-hour job, and then 2-3 hours back. You think CNN's covering those things? You think when the New York Times covers these things, they bend over backwards, they twist themselves into a pretzel to basically both sides it and sanitize Amazon's corruption. So that's why Status Coup exists, for these moments. So I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm not beyond begging. Please consider signing up today, right now, as a Status Coup member. I'm not going to lie, we just took a trip to Florida, we lost money. We covered the Don't Say Gay bill down there, which is important. Don't let people tell you, oh, that's just culture war nonsense. No, it's affecting real people. These culture wars are a massive distraction meant to numb the masses to the economic Hunger Games we're living in. And while we were down in Florida, I covered the housing crisis. I covered a lot of different things down there. But because YouTube doesn't want to show it, we were getting, 100, 120 live viewers. Well, flights, hotels, rent-a-cars, cameramen, they're not free. So if you support on-the-ground reporting, and again, the victory is Christian and his workers. It's not anything we did. But I think there's something very important about independent media getting their asses out of the studio, doing a little bit more than hot takes and clickbait, and actually doing the work of going on the ground and handing a microphone to actual living, breathing, working people, black, brown, white, Asian, doesn't matter. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. You could become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. If you don't have the money, we understand, but if you do, that's how we're funded. Jeff Bezos is not funding us. Wall Street's not funding us. Fossil fuels, not funding us. Real estate, not funding us. Big Pharma, no. Military industrial complex, no. We've had a GoFundMe and small membership, small dollar membership. We need to grow that membership if we're going to actually do this for the long term and continue getting out there on the ground, not just to cover elections, to cover union drives. I would love to cover more Amazon warehouses around the country that are now going to start a union campaign. I would love to cover the fight for Medicare for all around the country. I'd love to go out there on the ground and interview more people for what we're calling the economic Hunger Games. I just interviewed a senior citizen who's on the verge of suicide because her rent has gone up $800. That's up on the channel. I just interviewed another senior citizen who's literally rationing rice and beans to afford rent. I just spoke with a family in Kentucky. They have 9 children. The father is being threatened with jail because their lawn wasn't cut enough. And they're the only Asians in town, by the way. I'm live. I have an immunocompromised wife, so go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Excuse me?
Did you hear me?
No, I never heard this.
Yes. I'm live. And it's none of your business whether I wear a mask or not. So go piss away. Sorry about that. So I got a mask person. By the way, for those viewers who wonder why I'm wearing a mask, my wife is immunocompromised. I don't really need to give further details, so I do it to protect her. You don't have to agree with it, but if you're deranged enough not to watch because I'm wearing a mask, by all means, don't watch. But I don't really understand people whose brains work to literally be shouting somebody down for wearing a mask when it does not involve them at all. You don't have to agree with me. This should have never become a culture issue thing, a culture war. If I want to wear a mask, what's it to you? Anyway, sorry about that. She was heckling me for a while, so I finally lost my cool. But bottom line, we're going to continue covering this as long as we have money to do it, because it's not free. It's not cheap. I'd like to hire more reporters. I'd like to hire more hosts, more producers, but we don't have any corporate funding, and we don't want any corporate funding. So please support us if you can. StatusCoup.com/join. $5 to $10 a month. You might think it won't make a big difference. It makes a huge difference when you support us. If you can't support financially, do me a favor, sign up for our text list, StatusCoup.com/text. That way you can get a text message when we're live. That's StatusCoup.com/text. If you can't support us financially, you can join our email list. Go to StatusCoup.com and you can put in your email there. You could also join our Twitter, @StatusCoup. We got Instagram, Instagram.com/StatusCoup. I don't want to give you too much. But if you can't support us financially, sign up for the email list. That's at StatusCoup.com. And sign up for our text list, StatusCoup.com/text. And we'll continue covering this because it's important. We'll continue covering it because it's important. And the last thing I'll say, because as you know, the progressive movement has had a lot of heartbreaks over the last couple of years. Progressive movement has had a lot of things that feel stolen from us. Rigged elections. I'm talking about Bernie specifically. And then progressives who we followed and we donated to and we knocked on doors, feeling like they're basically backtracking on what they campaigned on. They're backtracking from promising to fight. There's a lot of people who feel cynical. There's a lot of people who feel hopeless. There's a lot of people who feel burn it all down. And I understand that feeling. Trust me, when I go around the country covering these things, and most of what I'm covering is injustice, misery, corruption, I feel that way a lot of times too. Like, sometimes I feel like, is what I'm doing really going to make a difference? Why am I doing this? But then you have moments like this that show you there is a better country possible. The corruption in this country really accelerated over the last 40 years with Reagan and then Democrats becoming Republicans, basically. And the regulations on money in politics basically being erased. And the fossil fuel companies taking over. I'm not saying this country was ever perfect, certainly not for black and brown people and Native Americans. But what I am saying, the corruption of this system was not built overnight, and it was never going to be taken down overnight. So that's not me saying, hey, be happy with incrementalism. No. But also, we have to have realistic expectations. Don't think just because we didn't get a president yet, or the progressives in Congress aren't doing enough, that it's all hopeless. Well, if it's all hopeless, then why does anybody watch? Why bother watching? Why bother doing anything? Just roll up in fetal position and watch 90 Day Fiancé. This is a good show, by the way. It's not hopeless, and these workers are showing you it's not hopeless. And by the way, their fight's not over, because do not think Jeff Bezos and Amazon is going to come willingly to the negotiating table. They're going to do everything they can to stop more workforces from unionizing, and they'll probably, if my guess, they might challenge this election too. But sometimes when you actually show up and work, and it's hard because, constant defeat and constant injustice and constantly being screwed, it weighs on you, and it's hard to keep going. It's hard for me to keep going. But what is the alternative? To just give up? Because that's where Jeff Bezos wants you. That's where the Democratic Party wants you. They want you to vote and then shut the fuck up. And we know what Republicans want you to do, which is about the same, while also not talking about gay stuff or black stuff or anything. So, thank you for watching. Sorry about that little outburst, but, when you have randos screaming at you for wearing a mask, it wears on you, particularly when you have someone you love that is immunocompromised that I'm trying to protect, which, by the way, in New York right now, the mainstream media might have not told you, this new variant is up 60%. as compared to a week or two ago. This new variant that's more contagious than Omicron is spreading like wildfire. So that's why I'm wearing a mask, to protect my wife, meaning protect myself too. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. But if that's your mentality, if that's your serious mentality, that a mask on somebody's face rather than what they're actually covering and the voices they're lifting is more important to you or more of a deterrent, then I don't really need your support or want it, because that's kind of absurd. Thank you for watching. We'll clip up this live stream and put shorter parts up on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I don't know what time yet, but I'll be doing a call-in later. That's on the call-in app, CALLIN. You could subscribe to Status Coup's call-in. So download the app, CALLIN, and then follow Status Coup on call-in. Call-in is a live podcasting app. So it's basically a live podcast where we could take callers. So I'm going to be doing that later, taking your calls on this victory. Is massive. This is historic, this victory. Absolutely historic. And all the credit to the workers. So thank you for watching. StatusCoup.com/join. I'll see you later.